The Zanari arrived first, shimmering masks of porcelain and metal shielding their true faces from every other species. They were revered for it. To show oneself, they taught, was to corrupt one's purity. Masks protected thought, intention, essence. All emotion was filtered through artifice. And so they ruled through illusion. When we, humans, finally earned an audience with them, we were instructed to wear masks of our own. Our ambassadors complied. Ornate glass visors, engraved silver, carved wood. But the masks made us awkward, unnatural. Their world was silent, veiled, dignified, yes, but cold. We spoke through filters, negotiated through layers, but nothing ever truly connected. The Zanari nodded, signed treaties, traded resources, but there was no warmth behind their mirrored expressions. We couldn't tell if they were pleased or repulsed. Their masks never cracked. At one meeting, a young human linguist named Arlen sat still too long. His mask, hastily fastened, shifted on his sweating face. One strap popped. The porcelain fell, striking the polished floor with a sound like a bell. Gasps silenced the room. A dozen Zanari flinched backward. Arlen froze, his face bared beneath the High Council's gaze. His skin was flushed. He looked afraid. But he did not hide. He bowed instead, bare-faced and steady. "I apologize," he said, voice unfiltered. "But if you must know me, this is who I am." The chamber held its breath. Then, astonishingly, a counselor stepped forward. Slowly, they raised a gloved hand to their mask. And removed it. The face beneath was not monstrous. Not terrifying. Just tired. Old eyes ringed with delicate lines. Skin shimmered faintly like pearl. But it was their eyes that struck deepest, filled not with judgment but longing. "It's been centuries," the counselor whispered, "since one of us dared this. We thought it was a fluke. But something had begun." The next gathering, 3 Zanari appeared unmasked. The meeting after, 10. Then 20. Some wore half-masks. Some carried them but did not raise them. And always our humans came barefaced, smiling, sweating, crying sometimes when tensions ran high. Unfiltered emotion. Raw honesty. At first, the Zanari were overwhelmed. They called it violent expression. Human eyes too open, mouths too quick to speak pain or joy or anger. But they kept coming back. They couldn't look away. One day, a Zanari artisan approached our delegation with a sculpture, a mask split down the center. One half smooth, flawless. The other carved with tiny imperfections. Scratches. Tears. Smiles. Laughter lines. "Which is truer?" they asked. We pointed to the broken half. "That's where we live." They began asking questions then, not formal diplomatic queries but personal ones. What did it mean to miss someone? Why do humans cry and not die from it? Why say "I love you" when it makes you vulnerable? We didn't always have good answers. We just showed them. A human mechanic named Juno befriended a young Zanari tech named Kvesh. For months, they worked side by side on shared repairs. Juno laughed freely, cursed sometimes, sang while she worked. Kvesh wore a mask at first, beautiful, filigreed, unreadable. But over time, it slid lower on his face. One day, Juno caught him watching her, not in fear but fascination. She lifted his mask gently and whispered, "You're allowed." He didn't put it back on. Others followed. A movement started. Not enforced, not political. A cultural shift. The unmasking, they called it. At first small, then blooming. Artists painted faces, not masks. Children traced each other's features. Old songs were rewritten to speak with uncovered mouths. But there was backlash. A faction of mask keepers claimed we were corrupting Zanari tradition. They staged silent protests, entire cities dressed in pure white, masked from head to toe, refusing to speak. Still we stayed. Not to dominate, not to conquer, but to share. Our lives, our flaws, our truths. One human doctor opened a clinic in a Zanari district. Patients arrived masked, afraid to show weakness. She treated them anyway, with stories as much as medicine. "I cried when my father died," she told a weeping Zanari elder. The tears didn't fix anything, but they mattered. The elder wept too, and for the first time in centuries, didn't hide their face. Even the Zanari council began to shift. Meetings were no longer silent theater. They became conversations. Disagreements sparked, tempers flared, but emotions were real, present. One counselor stood and said, "For so long we thought stillness was strength. But you taught us movement can be sacred too." We didn't mean to change them. We just refused to lie. On the 10th anniversary of First Contact, the Zanari hosted a festival, the Day of Faces. Not masks. Faces. Each person, Zanari and human, painted their skin, not to cover but to celebrate. Wrinkles became rivers. Scars became stars. Tears became rain that fed flowers. Laughter lines were highlighted in gold. A former mask keeper, now reformed, stood on the central dais and held up a shattered mask. We thought hiding was safety, but you, humans, showed us that truth is the only shield worth holding. And when he finished speaking, he smiled. Not a gesture mimicked through metal. A real smile. Uneven. Imperfect. Beautiful. We smiled back. Because that's what we came with, not weapons, not perfection. Just ourselves. And it was enough. Now across Zanari space, murals rise of open faces. New diplomacy is conducted bare-eyed. Children wear masks in play, not fear. And in homes across both species, stories are shared at dinner tables, where no one has anything to hide. Their world isn't perfect now. Neither is ours. But we walk it together, faces uncovered, hearts unmasked. Because we didn't bring conquest. We brought honesty. And from it, they found their own reflection.